So tonight on Boomstick Barbecue, we're gonna make some Maryland style-ish pit beef. I'm from Maryland. I love Maryland, and to make sure you're doing pit beef proper the Maryland way, you have to be drinking a beer brewed in Maryland. This one's from the Cushwall Brewing Company. They're in Williamsport, Maryland, and I'm gonna sport it into my Baltimore Ravens mug. So what we're first gonna do here is we're going to, well, first take a sip of this. Wow, that's delicious. So we have about a 4.5 pound eye round. Now bottom round is generally the the cut used the most, and that's great, but if you want to do a huge bottom round, it's just, my wife and I, and my butcher at Penn Avenue Meats actually recommended that we try this eye round. He says it's going to slice up a lot better. So we have a rub here. This rub is essentially a 1/4 cup of coarse kosher salt, 1/4 cup of fresh black pepper, and the Maryland way, we got about 1/8 of a cup of Old Bay seasoning in there. So we want to go ahead and we want to get this rub on. So we're going to take a little Worcestershire. We're going to get that on. I think that goes really well with beef. You could use mustard if you want. I think this is just a little bit better for what I like beef. I like with Worcestershire. So we're going to go ahead and get this coarse rub on. And you can see here that this is not, a fatty piece of meat. So we're going to grill this, and that's how we do the pit beef. Over charcoal, pit beef. You don't have to smoke this. We're not roasting it. We're grilling this hot and heavy over charcoal. That's how they do it in Baltimore, and that's how we're going to do it here today. So we get this thing nice and coated on all sides with the nice rub that we made. Easy rub. We got the big green egg going at about 450. We're going to grill it on there. Make sure we get all those sides as well. And look at that rub. Coats the meat nicely. Put a little bit more maybe right here. This is a big piece of meat, so you can use a lot of seasoning, a lot of rub. And that looks good. This has been out of the refrigerator for about an hour now, coming up to temperature. Next step, we're going to get it on the egg. Okay, it's time to start cooking this. A nice hot fire in there. We're just going to take it and we're going to, just like that. The key to this is going to be flipping it a lot. Continuously flipping this. It's not on a rotisserie. Traditionally, you got a metal stick going through it. It's an open pit and somebody's just twisting it around. So we're going to do that today, but we're going to do it with tongs. And we'll show you when we go ahead and flip this thing what it should look like. And I'll catch you then. Let's see what we got here. So we went ahead and we flipped her once. It's looking good. You kind of want to get a little bit of a black outside like that. It's going to char a little bit on the outside, and that's going to be really good. We're going to cook this to about a medium rare, to maybe a medium. And it's going to be great. We're going to put it on a meat slicer and slice it thin, and we're going to have ourselves some sandwiches tonight. So it looks like it's about medium rare, and get in there and take a look at that. That looks good. Nice and charred on the outside like we want it. All that seasoning flared up on there, crusted up nicely. And I tell you what I think I'm going to do. Now, generally you don't toast the buns with the pit beef. I like toasted buns. I think I'm probably going to toast some right on where that meat was. And we're going to see how that goes here. But we're going to let this pit beef here, we're going to let this rest. I mean, this is a big piece of meat. Probably a good 20 minutes. We'll tin it with some foil. We'll let it rest. It'll come up a little bit more in temperature, but the instant read thermometer said it was done. So I'm going to believe it. And we'll see what we come up with when we get to the slicer. Okay, so it isn't pit beef without tiger sauce, so we're going to make some of that. I mean, you have to have it. I mean, without the tiger sauce, it's just not as good. This is how we do it in Maryland. So to make tiger sauce, we already have a little bit of crushed garlic in there that goes in, horseradish and mayonnaise. So it's just like, pretty simple mixture, but man, it just goes really good on beef. So you can get a lot of mayonnaise in there. And I like a lot of horseradish, so you make this however horseradishy, that even a word, horseradishy. You make this as horseradishy as you like. I like a lot. I like to even see the horseradish through it, like it's so I don't really have exact measurements here. Just mix all this together until it tastes good for you. This is how I like it. So let's see here. Oh, and that's kind of the consistency you're looking for. That's pretty good. So I'm going to do a little taste test here. And you may think I'm crazy because you just saw how much horseradish I put in there. I want more. I like a lot of horseradish with my pit beef and my tiger sauce. That's on point. That is tiger sauce. Now here's what you do. You kind of do this at the beginning, just like we just put the meat on the grill, and then you sit this in the fridge. And by the time you're ready to eat, this is going to be nice and cold, and all these flavors are going to have come together so well. And this is going to go great on top of that pit beef. Okay, so it's rested, it's good to go. We're actually going to kind of cut it up a little bit so it fits on the slicer a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and let's take a quick look at how well we did here. Oh, yeah. I think that's going to make for a really good sandwich. So we want to make sure we slice this really thin, like with the grain and everything. So I'm going to get it on the meat slicer and we're going to get after it. So the key here is to slice it really thin. That's what's going to make it super tender on the sandwich and super tender when you eat it. So I have this set pretty much at the lowest setting I can. And we're just going to slice it up. And take a quick look. Oops. Take a quick look here. That nice and thin, nice color. I mean, it looks really good. Let's see how it tastes. Oh, so tender. Obviously juicy, it's dripping. This is one of the reasons I think my wife hates when I use this. It really does make like a hell of a mess. But really want to slice it as thin as you can to get it on the sandwich so you get a really nice texture. And I tell you, I think the butcher was right using the eye round. This is definitely more tender and it's just really good as opposed to, say, the bottom round. So we'll come back in a second. I'll show you how we make a sandwich, and then after that I think I'm going to eat it. So now it's time to make a sandwich with all the hard work we did. So we just take a heaping pile of beef here. We stick it on there. And we'll grab a couple raw onions. And then that tiger sauce we made earlier. Be as liberal with that as you like. I like to be a little liberal with it. Spin it around a little bit. And that right there is Baltimore Style Pit Beef. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Boomstick Barbecue for more videos like this. Like down below. Leave any comments if you have any questions. And thanks for watching.